Okay guys, Brendan here. This is just going to be a brief overview of this great new full Power Rangers trailer that we got for the new movie. I did a previous sort of review slash analysis for the first teaser trailer, so you might want to go watch that. I have it in two parts. Because I'm going to skip over most of the stuff that was shown or is similar to stuff that was shown in the first trailer just for the sake of time. So with all that being said, let's dive right into it. One of the cool things the trailer does is basically give us a bit of a mini recap of some of the stuff that went down in the first teaser trailer, including how they're high school kids, they're all sort of losers, but they weren't friends, and then they come together, and we get this nice shot of them walking in the high school. Now, what I found interesting about this shot right here is that he specifically says Billy found those coins. Now, it was a bit hard to tell from the first teaser trailer, but it looked like Billy was setting off some detonation. So it obviously could just be in reference to he's the one that blew something up. But that does make me wonder, like, exactly how did they get there? Was Billy already there and the other guys just happened to meet him there? Or did Billy convince the other members to go along with him? I just found that interesting. And here we see another bit of a tone shift from the first teaser. The first teaser did have some fun towards the end, but this shows right here, like, a funny joke, some legitimate humor, and we see some other jokes in the trailer, and just a sense of fun, and I think I like that. It's good they're going in a more, maybe serious, adult, PG-13 direction, but it still should be a fun movie. Alright, here we go. The Command Center and Bryan Cranston as Zordon. I like the voice he's doing for Zordon. The exact look, it's a change. I think it works, sort of. It reminds me of those sort of toys you could put your face or your hand through. But overall, I think it does a good job of being like, yeah, he's a face in a wall, and he forms from something. I'm not exactly sure. I think it looks fine, though. I think it looks fine for a Zordon in this movie. And now we saw Alpha 5 briefly. His voice, I think is a bit cute. I think it works for an Alpha voice. The motion we didn't see a ton of, but it looks pretty good. I know I was a bit worried by the picture. It looked kind of awkward. But in motion, it seems to be pretty good. We see both some old and new footage of Rita in this trailer. This first picture I brought up as an example, I think is probably her first encounter with the Rangers before they ask Zordon how she's going to fight them. How they are going to fight her, excuse me. And I just get that impression. The other stuff, it's a bit harder to tell. I guess I imagine they'll have a few encounters in the film. I wonder if she'll actually turn giant. I didn't even think of that. I'll get back to that thought later. And now we get a look at, like, a lot of putties. And they look different from the toy. I know this is weird to say. For a second, I almost was about to say I preferred the toy design, which is the opposite of how I feel for most of this stuff. But overall, it's a good look. You got these, like, rock golems she's bringing from the ground. Overall, I think that's a good direction for the film. Now, this was a badass shot. To see them all morphed and walking out like this was great. Something we see very, very briefly is their in-suit combat. And I gotta say, I like the looks of it. It's not just like they're sort of an Iron Man or any person in a powered-up suit that they're just randomly punching. There does seem to be like a little bit of kicks, a little bit of... It's still heavy-ish armor, but still some martial arts stuff in there. Still, like, some kicks. And I just wanted to note that that's pretty cool. Now this is interesting. We see them in their Zords. They have sort of their visors down. And I mean, you saw the visors down in some seasons, not Mighty Morphin, of course. And that's an interesting choice. I guess when you're in the Zord, you don't need to worry about secret identities because nobody can see in there anyway. But at the same time, it's like if you crashed or something, both for safety reasons and for if somebody saw you after you crashed. Um, I mean, I guess you could just pop the helmet back up or pop the visor back on, but still, it's a bit weird. I guess I understand why. Sorry, I got a bit cut off there, but I was just saying it's a bit weird, but I understand why they went for it. It lets the actors emote a bit more, uh, and, facially. Um, I'd prefer if it was just, the occasional beam popped off, but we'll see how it is in the actual film. Okay, we see the literal Goldar, and yeah, I mean, it's a bit silly that they went, oh, his name's Goldar. Now he's literally made out of gold. That almost seems like you're making it more cheesy. But I sort of understand why. He still has the wings. He has a bit of a weird face. I wonder if he'll even have that much of a personality. He might just be a generic, voiceless demon. Which would be unfortunate, but what are you gonna do? We did see from the toy that this is what he would look like, but it's nice to see him in motion. He does actually look like this creature coming together out of gold. And this is something small that I just think is cool to see, that in this main trailer, they still thought to include the Red Ranger as a ranger helping someone, saving someone, and it's a bit hard to tell, but I'm thinking, is this Jason's dad? We saw Jason's dad in the first trailer, and off the top of my head, it's a bit hard to tell, but I think this might be Jason's dad, which would be kind of cool, because we saw he was being a bit hard on Jason, so now it's like Jason, proving to himself more than his father, but still helping his father out and being a hero. And here I'll comment just, we're still seeing just limited shots of the Zords, but we get the Zords in motion, which is cool, which is great. I overall like the design of most of the Zords. I would have done things a bit differently. And I'm also going to note that we see the Zords first attack Goldar individually, which is interesting because the majority of the time in all Power Rangers seasons and Mighty Morphin, they always just come together as a Megazord. There was a couple early episodes in Mighty Morphin where they just attacked individually and then came together. So it's sort of interesting, and I think it's cool that we see it like that, because it's cool to give the individual Zords that extra identity and their own specific rules and functions with how they combat. Now this is a badass shot to end your trailer with. You have the Megazord facing off against Goldar. I'm still a bit mixed on the Megazord design. As a fan, I personally would have had it rather be more similar, more recognizable to the original Megazord, because that is sort of classic design, if you will. But at the same time, I've gotten used to the look of the design. Unlike the toy, it actually looks like its waist can support the weight of its upper body, in that it can actually move naturally. And overall, yeah, it does move naturally. It's sort of different from like the Bayformers. It feels more like a solid machine than like a lot of the random moving parts you see in those things. And overall, it just looks cool. I think I'll wrap up here. I might do a part 2 if one of you guys in the comments points something out, or I find something else interesting that somebody else noted, or in a different video, or that I just find on rewatch. But I feel like this really covers sort of the interesting things to go over with this trailer. It was fun, it was exciting, it was what and I think most of the fandom wanted from a trailer. It showed us little bits of stuff that we had just previously seen from toys or leaked images or just had to imagine, and we see those things in motion and in action. I mean, I'm sure we'll get another trailer closer to the release date, keep in mind we're still a little over 2 months away. That gives a bit more plot details, but for overall, this is a good amount. This is good. It doesn't really spoil anything. Just tells you right up, it's going to be Rita, and then Forming Goldar has minions of putties fighting these teenagers with attitude that come together. So, if you guys have anything else to add, or have your own opinion for the trailer, feel free to comment it down below. Thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe if you want more content.